This video was made thanks to this awesome request. Thank you for the title suggestion, and happy watching.
Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Curikens. If you're a fan of My Hero Academia, especially awesome fanfiction stories all about Deku, you're definitely in the right place. Before we dive into today's story, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your fellow anime fans, and subscribe so you never miss a new upload. Also, if you have an awesome idea or title for the next fanfiction video, drop it in the comment below. I'd love to read your suggestions. And hey, if you want to support the channel even more and keep me extra motivated to create awesome content, consider joining our channel membership. By becoming a member, you'll unlock cool perks like exclusive loyalty badges and custom stickers you can use in the comments. If you've already joined, thank you so much. Your support truly means the world to me and helps keep this channel going. Alright, let's get right into the story.
Rain poured over the quiet streets of Musudafu. Inside a small house on the edge of the city, a 6-year-old boy repeatedly threw punches at a reinforced steel target. Thud, thud, thud. His knuckles were bruised. His breathing remained steady. Green hair stuck to his forehead from sweat. Izuku Midoriya never stopped moving. Behind him stood a towering figure clad in worn green armor. The praetor suit carried countless scratches from battles beyond imagination. Its helmet concealed an emotionless face. The room remained silent. Doomslayer watched every movement without speaking. Izuku planted his feet and threw another punch. Bang! The steel target bent inward. Not enough. The armored warrior stepped forward. Without warning, his massive fist struck the target. Boom! The entire block of reinforced steel folded like paper. Izuku stared at it. His father slowly pointed toward the ruined target. Then toward Izuku. Train harder. That single gesture said everything. Izuku nodded. Yes. He resumed training immediately. Push-ups. Pull-ups. Weighted squats. Sprints. Combat rolls. Knife drills. Every exercise continued until his muscles burned. Doomslayer never interrupted. He simply observed, occasionally correcting Izuku's stance with a light push. Every correction was precise. Every lesson practical. There were no speeches, only results. Hours passed. The rain outside finally stopped. Izuku collapsed onto one knee. His arms trembled from exhaustion. Doomslayer walked toward a nearby weapon rack. Rows of unfamiliar equipment rested there. Combat knives, training blades, heavy gauntlets, broken helmets collected from impossible battles. He picked up a combat knife, then handed it to Izuku. The boy accepted it with both hands. Doomslayer pointed toward several wooden targets. Izuku inhaled deeply, then moved. Slash, slash, slash. Every strike landed exactly where he intended. The targets split apart. Splinters scattered across the room. Doomslayer nodded once. Approval. Izuku smiled. Earning even a single nod felt like a victory. Later that evening, they sat together at the dinner table. The meal remained simple. Rice, vegetables, grilled meat. Doomslayer silently ate. Izuku finally gathered enough courage to ask, "Dad, why do we train every day?" Doomslayer looked at him. After several quiet seconds, he picked up an old photograph resting nearby. The picture showed a world consumed by fire. Towering monsters, endless destruction, countless innocent people. He slowly placed one finger over the civilians, then another over the monsters. Finally, he clenched his fist. Izuku immediately understood. Protect people. Destroy evil. Doomslayer stood up. He walked toward a locked steel vault hidden beneath the floor. Hydraulic locks released. Clanked. The vault slowly opened. Inside rested weapons unlike anything on Earth. Massive firearms. Glowing energy cells. Strange mechanical armor pieces. Everything radiated incredible power. Izuku stared in amazement. Doomslayer removed a damaged shoulder plate from the collection. Although cracked, it still emitted a faint green light. He carefully placed it into Izuku's hands. The armor piece felt surprisingly warm. Izuku looked up. Doom Slayer placed a hand on his shoulder. Firm, steady, trusting. I'll protect it. Doom Slayer nodded. The training continued the next morning before sunrise. While other children prepared for school, Izuku carried enormous steel weights across the nearby forest. He climbed cliffs, crossed rivers, ran through muddy terrain. Every obstacle strengthened his body. During one sprint, a fallen tree blocked his path. Izuku lowered his shoulder. Boom! The tree snapped in half. Birds scattered into the sky. He never slowed down. From the hill above, Doom Slayer silently watched. His arms remained folded. For the first time, a faint feeling of satisfaction crossed his hidden expression. His son possessed no quirk. Yet, his determination never wavered. Far away, inside a dark laboratory, multiple surveillance monitors displayed recordings from Musudafu. A mysterious figure replayed footage of the young green-haired boy lifting impossible weights. The man frowned. Midoriya Izuku, quirkless. Another recording appeared. The armored giant training him. The footage distorted repeatedly. The cameras failed whenever they focused on the massive warrior. Identify the adult. Unable. Database contains no match. The man narrowed his eyes. Keep watching them. Back in Musudafu, the sun slowly rose. Izuku stood on the training field once again. His bruised hands tightened into fists. Behind him, Doom Slayer silently stood like an immovable mountain. Father and son faced the morning together. Their training had only just begun. 5 years passed. Izuku had grown taller. His body no longer resembled the frail child everyone remembered. Years of relentless training had carved solid muscles beneath his ordinary clothes. Every morning began before sunrise. Running, combat drills, strength training, weapon maintenance. Nothing ever changed. Doom Slayer demanded consistency. Inside an underground workshop beneath their house, machines hummed continuously. Mechanical arms assembled unfamiliar components. Glowing argent energy flowed through sealed conduits beneath the floor. Izuku stood at a large workbench covered with blueprints. Metal plates, power cells, servo motors, targeting systems, all scattered across the table. He carefully tightened another bolt. Click. The right forearm armor locked into place. Izuku smiled. Almost finished. Doom Slayer silently approached. He examined every connection. Every cable, every energy regulator. After several seconds, he tapped one small section near the elbow. Izuku immediately understood. The balance is off. He removed the plate again. Another adjustment. Another calibration. Click. This time, Doom Slayer nodded. Perfect. The armor was smaller than the original praetor suit. Lighter. Built specifically for Izuku's size. It lacked the overwhelming bulk of Doom Slayer's armor. Instead, it emphasized speed and mobility. Izuku carefully attached the chest plate. Magnetic locks activated instantly. Clank. Green lights appeared across the armor. Energy indicators stabilized. Beep. The suit recognized its wearer. Izuku flexed both arms. The servos responded immediately. Smooth, silent, natural. He walked across the workshop. Every movement felt effortless. Doom Slayer walked toward a reinforced testing chamber. A thick steel door slowly opened. Inside waited dozens of combat drones. Training models. Their weapons fired compressed rubber rounds instead of live ammunition. Doom Slayer pressed a control switch. All drones activated together. Beep, beep. Target acquired. Without warning, they opened fire. Bang, bang, bang. Izuku immediately moved. His reflexes took over. He rolled beneath the first barrage. Another volley followed. Bang. He sprinted sideways. The armor enhanced every movement. Its lightweight frame allowed incredible agility. One drone rushed forward. Izuku stepped inside its attack range. His armored fist struck the machine. Boom! The drone smashed into the wall. Metal fragments scattered everywhere. Another machine attacked from behind. Izuku twisted. His elbow connected first. Crack! The robot's head separated completely. 3 more surrounded him. Their targeting lasers locked onto his chest. Doom Slayer watched silently. He never intervened. Izuku reached toward his belt. Instead of a firearm, he pulled out a compact mechanical device. He pressed the activation switch. Click! A glowing argent blade extended from his right wrist. Shing! Its green edge hummed softly. The nearest drone lunged. Izuku sidestepped. One clean slash. Slash. The machine split cleanly into 2 halves. The remaining drones attacked together. Izuku accelerated. Years of military drills guided every motion. He never wasted energy. Every strike served a purpose. Slash. Boom. Crack. Within seconds, the chamber became silent. Broken machines covered the floor. Only Izuku remained standing. His breathing stayed calm. Doom Slayer slowly approached. He inspected the battlefield. Every destroyed drone had fallen with maximum efficiency. Minimal movement. Maximum effectiveness. Once again, he nodded. Izuku couldn't hide his grin. Earning praise from his father was still rare. Doom Slayer walked toward another weapon rack. This time, he removed a compact firearm unlike any weapon sold on Earth. Its body glowed with faint emerald lines. An argent energy core pulsed inside its chamber. He handed it to Izuku. The boy accepted it carefully. Its weight surprised him. Argent sidearm. Doom Slayer pointed toward a reinforced target nearly 50 meters away. Izuku aimed. The weapon automatically synchronized with his armor. Target lock. Beep. He squeezed the trigger. Boom. A concentrated emerald blast crossed the chamber instantly. The reinforced steel target exploded apart. Molten metal splashed across the walls. Izuku lowered the weapon. His eyes widened. That's incredible. Doom Slayer slowly placed another energy cell onto the workbench. Then another. Then several more. He pointed toward the unfinished armor. Then toward the weapon. His meaning was clear. Improve them. Build stronger equipment. Izuku nodded immediately. I understand. Late that afternoon, mother and son sat together for tea. Inko looked at the scratches covering Izuku's armor. She sighed. Another hard day. Izuku laughed softly. Dad increased the difficulty again. Of course he did. She smiled warmly. Despite Doom Slayer's terrifying appearance, she knew exactly why he trained their son so relentlessly. Every lesson, every weapon, every exercise, everything existed for one purpose: keeping Izuku alive. Outside, Doom Slayer stood alone beneath the evening sky. His visor scanned the distant city. Warning symbols briefly flashed across the display. Unknown energy signatures. Weak, but increasing. He slowly clenched one armored fist. Far beyond Musudafu, something had begun moving, and deep inside the workshop, Izuku continued refining the prototype praetor suit. He had no quirk, but he possessed something far rarer: the blood of the Slayer. And this was only the beginning. The afternoon streets of Musudafu were crowded. Students walked home after class. Shop owners greeted passing customers. Everything seemed ordinary. Izuku adjusted the hood of his jacket as he walked through the sidewalk. Hidden beneath his clothes, the compact praetor suit rested against his body. Its systems remained in standby mode. The argent sidearm stayed secured at his waist. Doom Slayer had given only one instruction before Izuku left home: observe, assess, act only when necessary. Izuku never forgot those words. Suddenly, people ahead began screaming, "Run! A villain!" Boom! Cars crashed into one another. Pedestrians scattered in panic. A massive creature made entirely of black sludge burst into the middle of the street. Its enormous body stretched across multiple lanes. Red eyes scanned the fleeing crowd. Roar! The sludge villain laughed. Where are you going? Its body lunged toward a blonde teenager. Bakugo Katsuki. The explosion user tried blasting the sludge away. Boom! The explosion scattered pieces of the monster. But the sludge instantly reformed. Long tendrils wrapped around Bakugo's arms. Then his legs. Then his neck. Damn it! He fired another explosion. Bang! Nothing changed. The villain laughed louder. Your quirk belongs to me now. Heroes quickly arrived. Death Arms charged first. His powerful punches smashed into the sludge. Boom! The villain absorbed every strike. Backdraft blasted high-pressure water. Whoosh! The sludge simply spread farther. Mount Lady couldn't approach without crushing nearby buildings. The street descended into complete chaos. Izuku silently observed everything from behind the crowd. Distance, hostages, enemy structure, escape routes. His mind calculated every possibility. The answer appeared immediately. Close combat. He quietly pressed a hidden switch beneath his sleeve. Click. Green lights briefly flashed beneath his jacket. The praetor suit activated. Thin armored plates expanded across his body. Gauntlets locked into place. Boots sealed. His visor remained hidden. Only the internal systems awakened. System online. Argent core stable. Melee blade ready. Izuku slowly stepped forward. A nearby hero grabbed his shoulder. Kid, stay back. Izuku calmly removed the hand. I'll finish this. Before anyone could stop him. He sprinted. Boom. The asphalt shattered beneath his first step. Everyone stared. What? Bakugo barely managed to look up. Through the sludge surrounding his face, he saw Izuku charging directly toward them. Deku. The sludge villain laughed. Another victim. Multiple tendrils shot toward Izuku. Whoosh. Izuku never slowed. He dodged the first, ducked beneath the second, jumped over the third. Years of relentless combat training flowed naturally. He closed the remaining distance instantly. Boom. His left fist slammed into the monster's center. The impact compressed the sludge for a brief second. That opening was enough. Click. A glowing argent blade extended from his right wrist. Shing. Without hesitation, he struck. Slash. The blade carved through the monster's unstable core. The sludge split apart. The villain screamed. Rawr. Izuku continued moving. No wasted motion. No hesitation. One strike became two. Slash. 3. Slash. 4. Slash. The argent blade sliced faster than the villain could regenerate. Its unstable body collapsed into countless pieces. Green energy spread through every wound. The sludge began burning from within. Crackle. What is this energy? The villain desperately tried reforming. Every fragment dissolved instead. The argent energy consumed its unstable composition. Piece after piece disappeared. Within seconds, nothing remained. The street fell silent. Bakugo collapsed onto the pavement. Gasping for air, the remaining sludge evaporated into smoke. Heroes stared at the empty road. None of them had ever witnessed equipment capable of destroying a villain so completely. Death Arms slowly lowered his fists. He ended it. Backdraft looked toward Izuku. That wasn't a quirk. Izuku retracted the wrist blade. Click. The glowing edge disappeared. He quietly helped Bakugo sit upright. Bakugo slapped his hand away. I didn't need saving. Izuku simply looked at him. You were dying. Bakugo couldn't answer. For the first time in years, he had been completely helpless. And the person who rescued him was the quirkless boy he always mocked. Sirens echoed through the street. More heroes arrived. Police officers secured the area. Reporters rushed toward the scene. Camera flashes filled the road. Click, click, click. Before anyone could question him, Izuku walked away. His armor quietly returned to standby beneath his clothing. The crowd parted without realizing it. Everyone instinctively made room for him. High above the city, Doom Slayer stood atop a rooftop. He had watched everything. Without speaking, he gave a single nod. Izuku had followed every lesson perfectly. Fast, efficient, decisive. Far away, inside a hidden bar, Tamura Shigaraki watched the television report. The footage replayed Izuku's battle again and again. The green armored figure, the glowing wrist blade, the complete destruction of the sludge villain. Shigaraki slowly scratched his neck. Interesting. All Might isn't the only monster in this city anymore. The gates of U.A. High stood open. Thousands of applicants gathered outside. Some nervously reviewed notes. Others demonstrated their quirks to impress the competition. Izuku quietly walked through the crowd. A black duffel bag rested across his shoulder. Inside, the compact praetor suit waited. Students glanced toward him. Some recognized him immediately. That's the quirkless kid from the sludge incident. He destroyed a villain with equipment. Is that even allowed? Izuku ignored the whispers. He continued toward the examination hall. Inside, Present Mike stood on the stage. Welcome, future heroes. Today's entrance exam is simple. Destroy as many villain robots as possible. The giant screen displayed the different robot models. 1 point, 2 points, 3 points. Finally, the enormous 0-pointer appeared. The room became silent. And remember, there's absolutely no reward for defeating the 0-pointer. The students laughed nervously. Izuku remained expressionless. The exam began. Beep. The massive entrance gates slowly opened. Go, go, go. Hundreds of students rushed forward. Explosions. Ice. Electricity. Fire. Countless quirks erupted across the battlefield. Boom. Bang. Crack. Izuku calmly walked several steps. He placed his duffel bag onto the ground. Then opened it. Inside, the compact praetor suit unfolded automatically. Armor plates separated. Mechanical arms extended. Click, click, click. Each component locked onto his body. Helmet, chest plate, gauntlets, greaves, boots. The visor illuminated. System online. Argent reactor stable. Combat mode activated. The students nearby stopped running. What is that? Armor. Izuku reached behind his back. He removed a massive double-barreled weapon. The super shotgun. Its argent core glowed emerald beneath the steel frame. He chambered a shell. Clack. The nearest 1-point robot charged. Izuku didn't move. He simply raised the shotgun. Boom. The blast erased the robot instantly. Metal fragments scattered across the street. Before the debris landed, he was already moving. Boom. His boots shattered the pavement beneath every step. A 2-point robot swung its arm. Izuku slipped beneath the attack. His armored fist struck upward. Crack. The robot's head launched into the sky. Another machine appeared behind him. Izuku spun. Boom. The super shotgun fired again. The machine exploded into burning scrap. Farther ahead, 10 robots surrounded a narrow intersection. Other applicants immediately changed direction. Izuku didn't. He accelerated. Boom. He charged directly through them. His shoulder smashed into the first machine. Bang. His elbow crushed another. His gauntlet grabbed a third. He hurled it into the remaining robots. Boom. The intersection disappeared beneath twisted metal. High above the battlefield, teachers watched from the control room. Smintos folded his arms. His physical strength rivals enhancement quirks. Midnight stared at the monitors. He's treating the robots like cardboard. Power Loader leaned closer. That armor is incredible. Even All Might silently watched. His smile slowly faded. The boy reminded him of someone else. Someone who fought with relentless determination instead of overwhelming quirks. Back outside, Izuku's score climbed rapidly. Other students could barely keep pace. Then, warning alarms echoed across the city block. Everyone looked upward. The zero-pointer emerged between the buildings. Its enormous shadow covered the battlefield. Students immediately panicked. Run! It's the zero-pointer. The giant robot took another step. Boom! The ground shook violently. Most examinees fled. Izuku remained perfectly still. His visor analyzed the target. Weak point located. Left knee joint. Estimated collapse trajectory. Safe. He crouched. Servo motors whined. Then, he launched himself skyward. Boom. The street shattered beneath him. Izuku soared above the rooftops. Every student stared upward. He jumped that high. He reached the robot's shoulder. Without hesitation, he tucked both legs beneath him. Then drove downward. Boom. Ground pound. The impact struck directly into the zero-pointer's head. Shockwaves burst across the battlefield. Armor plating crumpled instantly. Massive cracks raced through the robot's frame. Its balance failed. The enormous machine slowly tipped forward. Crack. Boom. The zero-pointer crashed into the empty street. Its entire upper body collapsed into twisted steel. Dust engulfed half the battlefield. Silence followed. Every applicant stood frozen. Even President Mike forgot to speak. Inside the control room, every monitor displayed the same image. Izuku standing atop the destroyed zero-pointer. His armor covered in dust. The super shotgun resting across his shoulder. All Might quietly smiled. Young Midoriya, you truly forged your own path. The final examination horn echoed through the city. Beep. Combat time was over. Izuku looked across the ruined battlefield. Burning robot wreckage surrounded him. He calmly holstered the super shotgun. The praetor suit powered down into standby mode. Without looking back, he walked toward the exit. Behind him, the broken remains of the zero-pointer continued to smoke beneath the afternoon sky. The first day at U.A. arrived. Class 1A quietly gathered inside the classroom. Students introduced themselves. Some looked excited. Others remained nervous. Izuku sat near the window. His black duffel bag rested beside his desk. Bakugo occasionally glanced toward him. His expression remained irritated. The classroom door suddenly slid open. Whoosh! A man wrapped inside a yellow sleeping bag slowly crawled into the room. He looked exhausted. Messy black hair covered part of his face. I'm Shota Aizawa. Follow me. Without another word, he walked back outside. The students hurried after him. Minutes later, they arrived at Training Ground Gamma. Aizawa tossed a box filled with athletic uniforms toward them. Change. After everyone finished changing, Aizawa held a softball. Today's orientation is cancelled. We're doing a quirk assessment. Some students looked confused. Others became excited. Aizawa remained expressionless. The student with the lowest overall score will be expelled. The atmosphere instantly became tense. Izuku quietly adjusted the straps beneath his hero suit. The compact praetor armor rested underneath. Ready at any moment. The first event began. 50-meter dash. Ida launched forward using his engines. Boom. His speed impressed everyone. Next, Bakugo blasted himself across the track. Bang. Then came Izuku's turn. Aizawa looked directly at him. You may use whatever equipment you normally fight with. Izuku nodded once. He pressed a hidden switch beneath his wrist. Click. The praetor suit activated. Green armor expanded across his body. The visor sealed. System online. Mobility systems active. Izuku lowered his stance. Begin. Boom. The starting line exploded apart. Izuku vanished. Only shattered concrete remained behind. Before several students even reacted, he crossed the finish line. Wind continued rushing across the field. Whoosh. The electronic display flashed. 2.03 seconds. Silence filled the training ground. That was faster than Ida. Ida adjusted his glasses. Remarkable. Bakugo clenched his fists. Damn nerd. The assessment continued. Standing long jump, grip strength, side steps, sit-ups. Every event produced the same result. Izuku never dominated through quirks. Only physical ability, speed, precision, discipline. Finally, the softball throw remained. Aizawa handed the ball toward Izuku. Throw it. Izuku caught it. Instead of winding up, he quietly connected the ball to a compact magnetic launcher attached beneath his gauntlet. The students looked confused. What's that? Izuku aimed toward the sky. The launcher hummed softly. He pulled the trigger. Boom. The ball disappeared beyond the clouds. Seconds later, the measuring device stopped. 999.9 meters. The students erupted. That's impossible. Without a quirk. Aizawa quietly stared at the display. Then, his red eyes activated. Erasure. His quirk immediately targeted Izuku. The surrounding students waited. Nothing happened. The armor remained active. Its lights never flickered. Izuku stood exactly where he was. Completely unchanged. Aizawa narrowed his eyes. He increased his focus. Still. Nothing. No reaction. No weakness. No interruption. The praetor suit continued operating perfectly. Izuku calmly looked back at him. Is something wrong, sensei? Aizawa slowly deactivated erasure. For the first time that morning, his expression changed. Your equipment isn't powered by a quirk. Izuku nodded. Correct. It's powered by argent energy. And everything else comes from training. Aizawa looked directly into Izuku's eyes. He saw no arrogance, no hesitation, only complete confidence. I see. He turned toward the rest of Class 1A. Remember this. Don't assume every opponent relies on quirks. His gaze briefly returned to Izuku. Some people become dangerous through sheer effort. The remaining tests finished without incident. After reviewing every score, Aizawa folded the results sheet. None of you are being expelled. The students blinked. What? Aizawa sighed. It was a rational deception. Groans immediately echoed across the field. Seriously, that's so unfair. Aizawa ignored the complaints. He looked once more toward Izuku. Deep in his thoughts, erasure had failed completely. There had been nothing to erase. Only advanced technology, discipline, and years of brutal conditioning. Later that evening, inside the faculty lounge, All Might quietly entered. How did the assessment go? Aizawa handed him the report. Look at Midoriya's file. All Might slowly read every page. Physical strength, reaction speed, combat efficiency, all ranked at the very top. The final note caught his attention. Erasure. Ineffective. Subject possesses no quirk-dependent abilities. All Might smiled. Young Midoriya continues to surprise us. Far away, inside a dark hideout, Tamura Shigaraki watched fresh footage stolen from a surveillance system. He replayed the recording of Aizawa's erasure. Again, and again. Each time, nothing happened. Shigaraki slowly scratched his neck. A hero student, whose power can't be erased. A smile slowly spread across his face. Now that's worth killing. The next morning arrived. Class 1A gathered outside training ground Beta. A massive mock city stretched before them. Office buildings, narrow streets, industrial warehouses. The perfect battlefield. All Might stood proudly in front of the class. Today, you will participate in indoor battle training. He displayed the matchups on a large screen. The room immediately became lively. Izuku looked at the board. Team Heroes. Izuku Midoriya. Ochako Uraraka. Team Villains. Katsuki Bakugo. Tenya Iida. Bakugo grinned. Finally, I'll crush you. Izuku simply stared at him. His expression never changed. Focus on the mission. Bakugo clicked his tongue. Don't order me around. Minutes later, the teams entered separate preparation rooms. Ochako nervously adjusted her gloves. Midoriya, Bakugo looks really angry. Izuku calmly attached the final lock of his praetor armor. Click. He always is. He secured the argent sidearm. Then checked the wrist blade. Everything functioned perfectly. System online. Combat readiness. Optimal. Inside the villain room, Bakugo slammed both fists together. Small explosions burst from his palms. Bang. I don't care about the objective. I'm taking him down. Ida frowned. That isn't the assignment. The objective is protecting the weapon. Bakugo ignored him. The exercise began. Beep. Izuku and Ochako entered through the first floor. The building remained quiet. Dust floated through abandoned hallways. Broken furniture lined the corridors. Izuku activated his visor scanner. A three-dimensional map appeared instantly. Heat signatures, movement, structural integrity, everything displayed before his eyes. I found them. Ochako blinked. Already. Third floor. Bakugo is moving. Ida is staying beside the objective. Ochako looked surprised. How can you tell? Izuku pointed toward his visor. Thermal tracking. They quietly moved upstairs. Meanwhile, Bakugo sprinted through another hallway. Explosions erupted behind him. Boom. Deku. Come out. The roar echoed through the building. Izuku stopped walking. He found us. The next instant, the wall exploded inward. Boom. Chunks of concrete flew everywhere. Bakugo burst through the dust with both palms blazing. Die. A massive explosion erupted. Bang. The hallway disappeared beneath flames. Ochako instinctively covered her face. When the smoke cleared, Izuku remained standing. His green armor showed only black scorch marks. Not a single dent. Bakugo froze. What? Impossible. Izuku calmly brushed dust from his shoulder. Finished. Bakugo's face twisted with rage. Don't mock me. Boom. Another explosion. Then another. Bang. Bang. Continuous blasts filled the hallway. Fire swallowed everything. Windows shattered. Walls cracked. The entire floor trembled. Inside the smoke, Izuku slowly walked forward. One step. Then another. The explosions accomplished nothing. Bakugo's breathing became heavier. Why? Why won't you fall? Izuku never answered. He simply continued advancing. Steady. Silent. Relentless. Bakugo suddenly charged. His right fist exploded toward Izuku's face. Boom. Izuku tilted his head slightly. The punch missed. He stepped inside Bakugo's guard. His shoulder drove forward. Thud. Not a punch. Not a kick. Just one perfectly timed shoulder check. Bakugo's eyes widened. The impact launched him backward. Boom. He crashed through two concrete walls before rolling across the floor. Dust filled the room. Cough. Bakugo struggled to stand. His arms trembled. His explosions weakened. Izuku slowly walked into the ruined room. Still silent. Still expressionless. The heavy footsteps echoed across the broken floor. Thud. 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 Bakugo instinctively stepped backward. For the first time since entering U.A. He felt genuine pressure. Not from a quirk. Not from raw strength alone. But from someone who advanced without fear. Without hesitation. Without emotion. Izuku stopped several meters away. Stay down. Bakugo gritted his teeth. Small sparks danced across his palms. Yet, he couldn't force himself to attack immediately. His instincts screamed that rushing forward again would only end the same way. Meanwhile, Ochako quietly slipped past the destroyed hallway. Following Izuku's earlier plan, she reached the top floor unnoticed. Ida immediately spotted her. Intruder. He rushed forward. Ochako touched several large steel pipes. They instantly became weightless. She swung them toward Ida. Ida dodged the first. The second blocked his path. The third struck the mock nuclear weapon. Thud. Ochako immediately touched the objective. Beep. Heroes win. The announcement echoed throughout the building. The exercise ended. Bakugo lowered his fists. His breathing remained uneven. Izuku quietly deactivated his combat stance. The praetor suit returned to standby. Click. Outside, All Might smiled proudly. Excellent teamwork. Aizawa watched the replay on the monitor. His attention wasn't on the explosions, nor the armor. He focused on Izuku's behavior. Every movement minimized unnecessary force. He never attacked recklessly. He ended the fight using the least amount of violence required. Despite years of brutal training, he remained completely in control. Aizawa quietly folded his arms. Good. He knows exactly when to stop. Far away, inside the League of Villains hideout, Shigaraki watched the recorded battle. He replayed the moment Bakugo's strongest explosion failed to scratch Izuku's armor. Again, and again. Finally, he smiled. Interesting. Let's see how that armor survives USJ. The next afternoon, Class 1A gathered inside one of UA's largest training halls. Rows of reinforced barriers surrounded the field. Power Loader stood beside several thick steel containers. All Might smiled as the students assembled. Today's lesson is about support equipment. Heroes must understand more than just quirks. Many students became excited. Mei Hatsume from the support course eagerly adjusted her goggles. Finally, time to show real technology. Power Loader cleared his throat. Today, we'll also examine the unique equipment used by Midoriya. Everyone immediately looked toward Izuku. He quietly stepped forward while carrying a large black equipment case. Bakugo crossed his arms. Let's see what kind of toys you brought. Izuku ignored him. He placed the case onto the floor. Clanked. Multiple locks disengaged. Click, click. The heavy lid slowly opened. Inside rested several unfamiliar weapons. The argent sidearm, the super shotgun, energy cells, mechanical gauntlets, and one massive weapon unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Its metallic frame glowed with faint green energy. Thick cooling vents surrounded an enormous energy chamber. Everyone stared silently. Kaminari blinked. What is that thing? Izuku gently lifted the massive weapon. Despite its incredible size, he carried it with ease. This is the BFG. Complete silence followed. Mina tilted her head. BFG. Izuku nodded. Big. He paused. Friendly gun. A few students laughed. Bakugo rolled his eyes. That's obviously a lie. Izuku's expression never changed. Yes. The real name isn't appropriate here. Even Aizawa sighed quietly. Continue. Izuku walked toward the reinforced testing range. Power Loader activated multiple defensive barriers. Layers of alloy walls rose from the ground. Several outdated combat robots were deployed behind them. Those walls can withstand heavy artillery. Power Loader folded his arms. Go ahead. Izuku slowly connected a glowing argent energy cell into the weapon. Click. The BFG awakened. Emerald energy flowed throughout its frame. A deep mechanical hum echoed across the room. Many students instinctively stepped backward. The weapon radiated overwhelming power. All Might's smile slowly faded. Even he sensed the danger. Izuku calmly aimed toward the empty testing field. This weapon doesn't use electricity. It doesn't use conventional fuel. It operates with stabilized argent energy. Momo raised her hand. What exactly is argent energy? Izuku lowered the weapon slightly. It's an energy source extracted from another dimension. Extremely unstable in its natural state. My father developed methods to stabilize it for combat. Ida frowned. Another dimension. Correct. A place where humanity once fought endless monsters. The classroom became unusually quiet. Nobody interrupted him. Argent energy produces enormous power. But improper handling guarantees destruction. He raised the weapon once again. Which is why this weapon is never fired carelessly. The energy chamber reached maximum output. Bright green light illuminated the training hall. Warning alarms activated automatically. Beep, beep. Power loader stared at the energy readings. His eyes widened. Those numbers. That's impossible. Izuku squeezed the trigger. Boom. A massive emerald sphere launched across the testing range. It traveled slowly, silently. Then, countless green energy tendrils erupted outward. They connected with every robot nearby. Crackle, crackle, crackle. Before anyone understood what was happening, the entire testing field exploded. Boom. A blinding flash swallowed everything. Shockwaves rattled the reinforced building. Dust rolled across the floor. Students instinctively shielded their faces. When the smoke finally cleared, everyone stared in complete disbelief. Every combat robot had vanished. The reinforced barriers had melted. The thick alloy walls no longer existed. Only a massive crater remained. Its edges still glowed from residual heat. Complete silence filled the room. Hiroshima slowly swallowed. That's completely insane. Kaminari nervously laughed. That's not support equipment. That's a natural disaster. Mei Hatsume practically sparkled. I want one. Power Loader immediately shook his head. Absolutely not. All Might slowly approached the crater. He examined the melted metal. Even his strongest punches rarely produced such concentrated destruction. He turned toward Izuku. Young Midoriya, how many weapons like this exist? Izuku answered honestly. The original arsenal contains many. This isn't the largest. The entire class froze. There are stronger ones. Izuku nodded. Yes, much stronger. Even Bakugo remained silent. For the first time since entering UA, he wasn't angry. He was thinking, if that enormous weapon represented only part of Izuku's arsenal, then how strong was the man who taught him? Far away, inside the League of Villains hideout, Shigaraki received a stolen report from one of UA's informants. He quietly read the final page. Unknown Weapon Designation. BFG. Estimated Destructive Capability. Catastrophic. His fingers slowly tightened around the document. Midoriya Izuku, you're becoming more troublesome than All Might. Nearby, All for One silently listened. A faint smile appeared beneath his mask. Interesting. Then perhaps it's time we learn more about the Slayer's son. The following week, Class 1A boarded a bus heading toward the unforeseen simulation joint. The USJ. Today's lesson focused on rescue operations. Inside the bus, everyone chatted excitedly. Only Izuku remained quiet. He looked out the window. Something felt wrong. Beside him, Tsuyu noticed. Midoriya, you're unusually quiet. Izuku answered without looking away. Something's coming. I don't know what. The bus arrived a few minutes later. The massive training facility stood before them. Inside waited the rescue specialist. 13. Welcome, everyone. Today we'll learn how to save lives during disasters. The students listened carefully. Izuku quietly scanned the enormous dome. Everything appeared normal. Then, his visor emitted a warning. Beep. Unknown spatial distortion detected. His eyes narrowed. Everyone, move back. Before anyone could ask, a swirling black portal opened in the center of the plaza. Purple mist flooded the arena. Dozens, then hundreds, of villains stepped through the gateway. Armed criminals surrounded every exit. Students froze. 13 immediately moved forward. Villains. A pale man with blue hair slowly walked from the portal. His fingers scratched his neck continuously. Tamura Shigaraki. Beside him floated Kuwari. Behind them, a gigantic creature towered over everyone. Its exposed brain pulsed slowly. Its muscles twitched violently. Nomu. Shigaraki smiled. Where's All Might? Silence. Aizawa stepped in front of the students. His capture weapon unraveled. 13. Protect the students. Without hesitation, he charged. Boom. His scarf wrapped around the nearest villain. Bones shattered instantly. Another criminal fell. Then another. Aizawa fought like a whirlwind. Izuku watched carefully. Then, the portal expanded again. More villains appeared. Over 100. Then nearly 200. They rushed toward the students. Kill them. Don't let anyone escape. Roar. Panic spread instantly. Before 13 could react, Izuku stepped forward. Click. The praetor suit activated completely. Green armor sealed across his body. The helmet locked into place. Clank. Argent reactor online. Combat mode engaged. Izuku drew the super shotgun. Its barrels rotated into position. Clack. Ochako looked toward him. Midoriya, what are you doing? His answer came calmly. Protecting everyone. He began walking. Not running. Walking. Directly toward the approaching army. The villains laughed. One kid. Tear him apart. 20 villains rushed him together. Pipes. Knives. Quirks. Everything came at once. Izuku suddenly accelerated. Boom. The concrete beneath him exploded. He appeared inside the enemy formation instantly. Boom. The super shotgun fired. The nearest villain flew backward through 3 others. Before anyone recovered, Izuku drove his armored elbow into another attacker's chest. Crack. The man crashed into a wall. A third swung a metal bat. Izuku caught it effortlessly. He snapped it in half. Crack. Then struck the villain with the broken handle. Bang. Another body collapsed. The surrounding criminals hesitated. Their confidence disappeared within seconds. Izuku never stopped moving. Every attack flowed into the next. No wasted motion. No hesitation. A villain lunged with twin daggers. Izuku sidestepped. His gauntlet seized the attacker's wrist. Snap. The knives dropped. One clean punch. Boom. The villain rolled unconscious across the pavement. Another group charged from behind. Izuku reached toward his belt. He pulled out a fragmentation grenade. Click. He tossed it into the middle of the formation. Boom. The explosion threw villains in every direction. Dust filled the air. Screams echoed across the plaza. Run. He's insane. Get away from him. Fear spread faster than the battle itself. Even hardened criminals instinctively retreated. High above, Shigaraki watched silently. His scratching slowed. They're running. From one student. Kurogiri floated beside him. His combat methods are unlike any hero. Izuku continued advancing. He never chased fleeing enemies recklessly. Instead, he positioned himself between the villains and his classmates. An immovable wall. Every criminal who approached fell within seconds. Behind him, the students stared in disbelief. Kirishima swallowed. He isn't fighting. He's dominating them. Bakugo grinned despite the chaos. That's more like it. Aizawa briefly glanced toward Izuku while defeating another villain. Even with dozens of enemies surrounding him, Izuku remained completely composed. Not a single unnecessary movement. Not a single careless attack. Then, a massive shadow stepped forward. Heavy footsteps shook the plaza. Thud, thud, thud. The enormous bioengineered creature slowly approached. Its empty eyes locked onto Izuku. Steam escaped from its mouth. Its muscles swelled. Shigaraki pointed toward the battlefield. Nomu. Kill him. Roar. The monster roared as it charged. The ground shattered beneath its first step. Izuku slowly lowered the super shotgun. Then, he reached behind his back. His hand gripped the hilt of another weapon. A crimson energy blade began emerging from its sheath. Shing. The crucible blade awakened. The crucible blade ignited. Shing. A crimson energy edge extended from the hilt. Its glow reflected across the shattered plaza. Heat distorted the surrounding air. Every villain instinctively stepped backward. What is that? One criminal whispered. Nomu didn't hesitate. It lowered its body before charging. Boom. The ground exploded beneath its feet. Its enormous fist shot toward Izuku like a cannonball. Roar. Izuku didn't dodge. He planted both feet firmly. His left arm rose to intercept the attack. Boom! The impact echoed throughout USJ. A violent shockwave swept across the plaza. Windows shattered. Nearby trees bent from the pressure. Dust engulfed both fighters. "Midoriya!" Ochako shouted. The smoke slowly cleared. Everyone stared. Izuku hadn't moved an inch. His armored boots remained planted in the cracked concrete. His left gauntlet held Nomu's massive fist in place. The monster strained harder. Its muscles expanded. Veins bulged across its body. Yet, it couldn't push Izuku back even a single step. "Impossible," Shigaraki muttered. "Nomu's strength." Izuku calmly looked into the creature's empty eyes. "You're strong. But you're only a weapon." Nomu roared again. Roar. It swung its other arm. Izuku released the first fist. He ducked beneath the second attack. The gigantic punch smashed through the pavement. Boom. Before Nomu recovered, Izuku stepped inside its guard. The crucible blade flashed. Slash. A crimson arc crossed Nomu's chest. The creature stumbled backward. A deep wound opened across its torso. Black blood sprayed onto the broken ground. Splatter. The students gasped. "He cut it. That thing survived Aizawa's attacks." Nomu growled. The wound immediately began closing. Muscles twisted. Skin reformed. Within seconds, its chest had completely regenerated. Regeneration. Izuku quietly observed. Expected. Nomu charged once more. Its speed doubled. It appeared before Izuku almost instantly. Boom. A barrage of punches erupted. Bang. 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 Each blow carried enough force to demolish reinforced concrete. Izuku met every strike head-on. His gauntlets collided with Nomu's fists repeatedly. Boom. 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 The battlefield shook beneath every exchange. Cracks spread across the plaza. Large chunks of concrete launched into the air. Even Aizawa briefly stopped fighting nearby villains to watch. Those impacts. They're on All Might's level. Nomu suddenly grabbed Izuku's shoulders. Its grip tightened. The monster attempted to crush the armor through sheer force. Metal groaned. Crack. Warning symbols briefly appeared inside the visor. External pressure increasing. Izuku remained calm. His right hand tightened around the crucible blade. Release. With one swift motion, he swung upward. Slash. The crimson blade sliced cleanly through Nomu's right arm. The severed limb spun across the plaza before crashing into a nearby wall. Boom. Black blood erupted from the wound. Nomu staggered. Its remaining arm lashed out wildly. Izuku sidestepped, then delivered a devastating armored punch directly into the creature's ribs. Boom. Multiple bones shattered instantly. Nomu launched backward. It smashed through 3 buildings before finally stopping. Clouds of dust rose into the sky. He sent Nomu flying. Hiroshima shouted. "That's insane." Inside the rubble, Nomu slowly stood again. Its missing arm had already begun regenerating. Fresh muscle formed. New skin stretched across the limb. Seconds later, its arm had fully returned. Shigaraki smiled. "Exactly. You can't kill it." Izuku silently watched the regeneration finish. His visor analyzed the biological structure. Regenerative core detected. Continuous cellular reconstruction. He understood immediately. Cutting wasn't enough. The entire body needed to be destroyed faster than it could heal. Behind his visor, a small smile appeared. He extinguished the crucible blade. Shing. Instead, he reached over his shoulder. His hand gripped something much larger. Something heavier. The massive outline slowly emerged behind him. A weapon whose glowing argent core illuminated the battlefield with emerald light. The villain's expressions instantly changed. Shigaraki's smile disappeared. What is he pulling out now? The emerald glow illuminated the battlefield. Izuku slowly lifted the massive weapon onto his shoulder. The argent reactor inside pulsed louder with every second. The surrounding air trembled. Every villain instinctively froze. Even Nomu stopped moving. Its empty eyes remained fixed on the enormous cannon. That weapon. Shigaraki narrowed his eyes. Destroy him. Roar. Nomu charged once again. Its regeneration had completely restored its body. It sprinted across the shattered plaza with terrifying speed. Every step left deep craters behind. Boom, boom, boom. Izuku calmly aimed the weapon. The targeting system activated. Beep. Target locked. Argent reactor charging. Green lightning danced around the barrel. The energy became brighter, louder, heavier. The students watched with wide eyes. That thing. It's charging. All the heroes nearby immediately understood. Whatever Izuku was about to fire, it would be devastating. Nomu leapt into the air. Its massive fist descended toward Izuku's helmet. Roar. Izuku squeezed the trigger. Boom. A concentrated sphere of emerald plasma erupted from the cannon. The projectile struck Nomu directly. For one brief instant, everything became silent. Then, the explosion erupted. Boom. A pillar of emerald fire shot into the sky. Shockwaves swept across the entire USJ. Windows shattered. Concrete walls cracked. The nearby lake surged violently. Students struggled to remain standing. When the light faded, Nomu's body had vanished. Only burning fragments remained. Pieces of flesh, shattered bone, molten debris. Everything continued flying upward before disappearing into the clouds. The remaining fragments landed far beyond the USJ. Its regeneration never had the chance to begin. Complete annihilation. Silence consumed the battlefield. Every villain stared at the empty crater where Nomu had stood. Their strongest weapon had disappeared. Shigaraki slowly lowered his hand. His fingers trembled. Nomu is gone. Kurogiri remained speechless. He had witnessed countless battles. Never had he seen Nomu erased so completely. Izuku lowered the plasma cannon. Steam rose from the glowing barrel. PSSSHHH. He looked toward the remaining villains. His visor concealed his eyes. Yet everyone felt the same overwhelming pressure. None of them wanted to move. One criminal dropped his weapon. Clang. Another took several steps backward. I'm leaving. Panic spread instantly. Run. Forget the mission. That monster isn't human. The villains scattered in every direction. Some climbed walls. Others fled toward the exits. Many abandoned their injured allies. They no longer cared about Shigaraki's orders. Survival came first. Shigaraki clenched his fists. Cowards. Come back. Nobody listened. His entire assault force collapsed within moments. Only Kurogiri remained beside him. The dark mist quietly spoke. Tamura, we must retreat. Continuing this battle serves no purpose. Shigaraki stared toward Izuku. Anger filled his face. Yet beneath that anger, fear slowly emerged. Izuku never chased the fleeing villains. He simply stood silently with the enormous weapon resting against his shoulder. Completely still, like an executioner waiting for the next target. Shigaraki unconsciously stepped backward. Damn you. Kurogiri immediately opened a warp gate. We're leaving. Shigaraki reluctantly entered the portal. Before disappearing, he pointed directly at Izuku. This isn't over. Izuku answered calmly. Next time, come prepared. The portal closed. The USJ became quiet once again. Only burning debris and broken concrete remained. The students slowly gathered around Izuku. None of them spoke immediately. Kirishima finally broke the silence. Midoriya, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Ochako smiled with relief. You saved everyone. Even Aizawa approached. His clothes were torn. Blood ran down one side of his face. He looked at the destroyed battlefield. Then at Izuku. Good work. Your decisions prevented far greater casualties. Those simple words carried genuine approval. Moments later, the front entrance burst open. Boom. All Might finally arrived. He looked around the devastated USJ. The defeated villains. The massive crater. The missing Nomu. Then his eyes settled on Izuku. Young Midoriya, did you do all of this? Izuku nodded once. Yes. All Might looked across the battlefield once more. A faint smile appeared. Excellent. Far away, inside a hidden underground base. All for One quietly listened to Shigaraki's report. The room remained silent until the story ended. Finally, the masked villain spoke. He destroyed Nomu with a single weapon. His smile slowly widened. The son of Doom Slayer may become the greatest obstacle we've ever faced. The war between heroes and villains had changed forever. Several weeks passed after the USJ incident. Security throughout UA increased dramatically. Despite that, the annual UA Sports Festival remained on schedule. The stadium overflowed with spectators. Television cameras covered every corner of the arena. Professional heroes filled the observation booths. Everyone wanted to witness the future generation. Inside the waiting room, Class 1A prepared for the opening ceremony. Bakugo cracked his knuckles. Todoroki silently watched the arena monitors. Kirishima stretched his shoulders. Izuku calmly inspected the seals of his compact praetor suit. Everything remained operational. Argent reactor. Stable. Helmet systems. Online. Super shotgun. Secured. He quietly closed the equipment case. President Mike's voice echoed throughout the stadium. Welcome to the UA Sports Festival. The audience erupted. Woo, yeah. Students marched into the arena. Camera flashes surrounded them. Click, click, click. Many reporters immediately focused on Izuku, the quirkless student who had defeated Nomu, the son of the mysterious armored warrior, the boy carrying unknown technology. Whispers spread across the stadium. That's him, the USJ hero. He destroyed Nomu. High above, Endeavor folded his arms. Hawks leaned against a nearby wall. Best Jeanist quietly adjusted his collar. All of them watched Izuku. Even All Might remained unusually focused. After the opening ceremony, Midnight announced the first event. The obstacle race. Massive gates slowly opened. Beyond them stretched an enormous battlefield. Robot wreckage, landmines, concrete barriers, steel canyons, and a damaged zero-pointer waiting near the finish. Beep. Go. Hundreds of students sprinted forward. Quirks activated everywhere. Explosions. Ice. Engines. Electricity. Boom. Bang. Crack. Izuku calmly activated his armor. Click. Green plates locked across his body. His helmet sealed. The visor illuminated. System online. Mobility systems active. Instead of rushing wildly, he advanced at a controlled pace. The first obstacle appeared. Rows of giant combat robots blocked the entrance. Many students tried climbing around them. Others attacked directly. Izuku chose neither option. He accelerated. Boom. His shoulder slammed into the nearest robot. The machine folded in half. Without slowing, he crashed through another. Bang. Metal debris scattered across the tunnel. Robots continued falling one after another. He simply ran straight ahead. The audience stared in disbelief. He isn't fighting them. He's bulldozing through. Next came the narrow canyon. Its walls suddenly erupted with automated machine gun fire. Training rounds filled the passage. Bang, bang, bang. Students ducked for cover. Izuku never changed direction. The bullets bounced harmlessly from the praetor suit. Ting, ting, ting. He continued walking. Steady, silent, unstoppable. The canyon ended moments later. Ahead waited the minefield. Small warning lights blinked beneath the dirt. Many competitors carefully searched for safe paths. Izuku simply looked forward. Estimated blast radius. Insufficient. He kept running. The first mine detonated. Boom. Then another. Bang. Another. Boom. Explosions surrounded him continuously. Smoke covered the battlefield. Viewers lost sight of him completely. Seconds later, Izuku emerged from the smoke. His armor carried fresh scorch marks. Nothing more. The audience exploded with cheers. Woo! He walked through the explosions. The final obstacle loomed ahead. The damaged zero-pointer slowly awakened. Its enormous body blocked the finish line. Students hesitated. Izuku did not. He reached behind his back. The super shotgun emerged. Clack. He fired once. Boom. The blast staggered the robot. Before it recovered, Izuku jumped. Servo motors roared. Whoom. He landed directly on the machine's shoulder. His armored fist rose high. Then descended. Boom. The robot's head shattered. Its balance failed. The enormous machine crashed sideways. Crack. Boom. The path to the finish opened instantly. Izuku landed gracefully. He calmly crossed the finish line. Beep. First place. The timer stopped. The audience erupted into deafening applause. Professional heroes exchanged surprised looks. Inside the commentator booth, Present Mike nearly shouted himself hoarse. First place goes to Izuku Midoriya. What an unbelievable performance. Back in the waiting area, Bakugo watched the replay silently. His fists tightened. Todoroki continued staring at Izuku through the monitor. For the first time, he spoke. He's stronger than I expected. High above the stadium, a mysterious armored figure silently watched from the shadows of a distant rooftop. Green armor, scarred metal, an unmoving silhouette. Doom Slayer had come. He observed his son's victory without making a sound. After several moments, he gave one quiet nod. Then disappeared before anyone noticed. The sports festival had only begun. And far greater battles still awaited inside the arena. The sports festival entered its final stage. The tournament arena. Thousands of spectators filled every seat. Professional heroes leaned forward with anticipation. Today's matches would reveal the strongest student in UA. Present Mike raised his microphone. Next match. Izuku Midoriya vs Shoto Todoroki. The crowd erupted. Woo! Both students entered the arena. Todoroki walked calmly toward the center. Half of his body shimmered with frost. The other radiated heat. Izuku approached from the opposite side. His praetor suit was fully equipped. Helmet sealed. Green visor glowing faintly. The super shotgun remained secured across his back. A new weapon rested at his waist. A compact argent chainsaw. Midnight stepped between them. Begin. Boom. The match started. Todoroki immediately extended one hand. Crack. A colossal glacier burst from the ground. Towering walls of ice surged across the arena. The freezing wave swallowed everything in its path. Spectators gasped. It's even bigger than before. The glacier rushed toward Izuku. He didn't retreat. Instead, he reached toward his belt. Click. The argent chainsaw roared to life. VRRRR. Its emerald teeth spun at incredible speed. Izuku lowered his stance, then charged directly into the glacier. Boom. The chainsaw collided with solid ice. For an instant, the arena echoed with grinding metal. VRRRR. Then, the glacier split apart. Huge sections of ice shattered into countless fragments. Crack, crack, crack. Izuku carved a straight path through the frozen mountain. Ice exploded in every direction. Within seconds, he emerged from the opposite side. Still running, still unharmed. The audience stood in disbelief. He cut through all of it. Todoroki's eyes widened slightly. Without hesitation, he unleashed another wave. Crack. More ice erupted. Larger. Thicker. Covering nearly the entire battlefield. Izuku accelerated. Boom. The chainsaw screamed louder. VRRRR. Emerald sparks scattered everywhere. Every wall of ice collapsed before him. His advance never slowed. He reached Todoroki within moments. Todoroki immediately switched sides. Flames erupted from his left arm. Whoosh! A torrent of fire rushed toward Izuku. The intense heat melted the remaining ice instantly. The arena became an infer. Izuku raised one armored arm. The flames washed over the praetor's suit. Whoosh! The armor's heat-resistant plating absorbed the attack. Warning indicators briefly appeared. Temperature elevated. Cooling systems active. Steam escaped from the suit. PSSSHHH. Izuku continued walking. Straight through the flames. Todoroki clenched his fists. How? Even my fire. Izuku extinguished the chainsaw. Click. He stepped directly in front of Todoroki. Neither weapon nor quirk stood between them now. Only raw skill. Todoroki threw the first punch. Izuku caught his wrist. Thud. Todoroki immediately attempted a kick. Izuku blocked it with his armored shin. Clang. The impact echoed through the arena. Izuku twisted slightly, using the smallest amount of force. He redirected Todoroki's balance. The dual quirk user stumbled sideways. Before he recovered, Izuku's open palm struck the center of his chest. Boom! Todoroki slid backward across the arena floor. His boots carved deep grooves through the concrete. He barely managed to stop himself. His breathing became heavier. He looked toward Izuku. The armored student hadn't drawn another weapon. He simply stood there, waiting, calm, silent. Todoroki slowly lowered both arms. He understood. Continuing the fight would only lead to defeat. After several quiet seconds, he exhaled deeply. I surrender. The entire stadium fell silent. Midnight stared for a brief moment. Then raised her whip. Winner. Izuku Midoriya. Beep. The crowd exploded into applause. Woo. What a battle. He overwhelmed Todoroki without taking serious damage. All Might smiled proudly. Endeavor remained completely silent. His eyes never left Izuku. The young man had dismantled both ice and fire with absolute efficiency. Inside the contestant hallway, Todoroki quietly sat against the wall. He replayed every moment of the battle in his mind. For the first time in years, he had encountered someone whose determination wasn't built upon a quirk. Near the arena entrance, Izuku deactivated the chainsaw and returned it to his belt. The praetor suit quietly entered standby mode. The tournament continued, but every remaining participant now understood one thing. The road to becoming champion passed through the son of Doom Slayer. Several days after the sports festival, the first internship program began. Students departed for hero agencies across Japan. Izuku chose to intern under a veteran combat instructor recommended by All Might. The agency specialized in urban warfare, hostage rescue, and anti-villain operations. Its methods focused on discipline rather than popularity. During the first week, Izuku refined his combat techniques. Live fire drills, close quarters combat, tracking exercises, night patrols. Every lesson expanded the skills Doom Slayer had already taught him. Late one evening, emergency sirens echoed across Hosu City. Whom? Citizens hurried indoors. Police vehicles sped through the streets. Reports of multiple nomu sightings spread across the communication network. Izuku immediately activated his helmet. Click. System online. City map loaded. Multiple distress signals detected. Thermal scans revealed scattered battles throughout Hosu. Then, another alert appeared. An isolated alley. Hero down. Unknown hostile present. Izuku's visor magnified the location. One familiar face appeared. Tenya Iida. Without hesitation, he accelerated. Boom. His armored boots shattered the pavement. He sprinted across rooftops. Jumped over narrow streets. His visor continuously updated the shortest route. Inside a dark alley, Iida struggled to breathe. Blood dripped from deep wounds across his arms and legs. His glasses had shattered. Standing before him, a man wrapped in torn cloth calmly held a bloodstained sword. Hero killer Stain. His cold eyes never blinked. Revenge has blinded you. You've abandoned the path of a hero. Iida attempted another kick. His injured leg failed. He collapsed onto one knee. Stain slowly raised his blade. Your story ends here. Before the sword descended, a heavy impact echoed through the alley. Boom. The concrete exploded between them. Dust surged outward. Stain immediately leapt backward. His instincts screamed, danger. When the dust settled, a green armored figure stood in front of Iida. Helmet glowing faintly. Super shotgun secured across his back. One hand resting near the hilt of the argent chainsaw. Izuku. Iida looked up in disbelief. Midoriya, you came. Izuku never looked away from Stain. Can you stand? Iida shook his head. Not yet. Izuku nodded once. Stay behind me. Stain slowly examined the armored student. So, you're the Slayer's son. Izuku remained silent. Stain pointed his sword toward him. Heroes today chase fame, money, recognition. Tell me, what kind of hero are you? Izuku answered calmly. The kind that stops people like you. Stain smiled. Then prove it. Slash. He disappeared. His speed surprised even experienced heroes. Within a heartbeat, he appeared behind Izuku. His sword descended toward the armor's neck joint. Clang. Sparks scattered across the alley. The blade struck the praetor's suit. The reinforced alloy didn't even dent. Instead, a loud crack echoed from the sword itself. Crack. A large fracture spread through the steel. Stain immediately retreated. He stared at the damaged weapon. My sword. It cracked. Izuku slowly turned toward him. It's over. Stain ignored the warning. He rushed forward once again. Faster. More aggressive. His damaged blade flashed repeatedly. Slash. 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 Izuku avoided every strike using the smallest movements possible. One step. One turn. One shift. Years of military combat training allowed him to read every attack. Stain suddenly aimed at the exposed joints of the armor. Izuku caught his wrist. Thud. The alley fell silent. Stain struggled to pull free. His arm didn't move. Izuku's grip remained completely steady. Their eyes met. For the first time, Stain sensed overwhelming pressure. Not from strength alone, but from someone who had fought enemies far beyond ordinary criminals. Izuku slowly tightened his grip. Crack. Stain winced. His wrist armor bent under the pressure. Before either fighter moved again, multiple new energy signatures appeared on Izuku's visor. Fast. Approaching. From different directions. Nomu. Dozens of civilians remained trapped nearby. Izuku immediately released Stain. He stepped backward. This isn't finished. Stain silently rubbed his wrist. His eyes narrowed. Go. Save them. That's what a true hero should do. Izuku didn't answer. He turned toward the incoming danger. Boom. He disappeared from the alley in a burst of speed. Iida watched him vanish. Stain quietly looked at his cracked sword. Then toward the direction Izuku had gone. For the first time in many years, the hero killer questioned whether someone like Izuku truly belonged among the false heroes he despised. The battle between them had only begun. The streets of Hosu burned. Sirens echoed from every direction. Smoke covered the skyline. Civilians fled through shattered intersections while pro-heroes battled scattered nomu. Izuku sprinted across the rooftops. His visor continuously scanned the city. Multiple hostiles detected. Civilian evacuation incomplete. Before he reached the nearest nomu, a familiar presence appeared behind him. Slash. A damaged sword cut through the air. Izuku tilted his head. The blade missed by centimeters. He landed smoothly on another rooftop. Stain stood several meters away. His cracked sword rested on his shoulder. One more battle. Izuku faced him calmly. You're wasting time. Stain slowly pointed toward the burning city. If you truly deserve to be called a hero, prove it. Boom. He rushed forward. His movements remained unbelievably fast. Despite the cracked sword, His technique hadn't weakened. He attacked from the left, then the right, then above. Slash, slash, slash. Izuku calmly avoided every strike. Small movements. Perfect timing. His praetor suit never suffered another direct hit. Stain suddenly changed rhythm. Instead of attacking the armor, he aimed for the exposed sections behind the knees. Izuku anticipated it. His armored boot rotated. Thud. The kick struck Stain's wrist. The cracked sword flew into the air. Clang. Before it landed, Izuku caught it. He examined the damaged weapon for a brief second, then snapped it across his knee. Crack. Both halves fell onto the rooftop. Stain immediately drew several combat knives. Whoosh. The blades flew toward Izuku. 1, 3, 5, all aimed at different angles. Izuku raised one armored arm. Ting, ting, ting. Every knife bounced harmlessly away. Stain appeared directly in front of him. His final blade thrust toward the visor. Izuku caught his wrist once again. Thud. Stain struggled. His muscles tightened. He couldn't escape. Then, their eyes met. The red glow behind Izuku's visor remained completely steady. Silent, cold, unyielding. Stain felt an unfamiliar sensation. His heartbeat accelerated. His breathing slowed. His instincts screamed, danger, not because of overwhelming strength, but because the man before him possessed absolute resolve. The same unbreakable determination Stain had searched for his entire life. His arms slowly lowered. The fighting spirit inside him weakened. Izuku released his wrist. Your weapons are gone. This fight is over. Stain looked at the broken pieces of his sword, then at the shattered knives scattered across the rooftop. He laughed quietly. So this is the son of Doom Slayer. Below them, a terrified scream echoed through the street. Help! A nomu burst through a nearby building. Its claws reached toward trapped civilians. Without another word, Izuku turned. Boom! He launched himself from the rooftop. Stain watched silently. Izuku landed directly before the charging nomu. The monster roared. Roar! Its massive fist descended. Izuku answered with one armored punch. Boom! The impact crushed the nomu's skull. The creature crashed through a concrete wall before collapsing motionless. The rescued civilians stared in shock. Izuku simply nodded toward them. Leave the area. They hurried away immediately. High above, Stain continued watching. Izuku never chased him, never executed him, never gloated. He simply saved lives. Stain slowly closed his eyes. Perhaps, heroes like you still exist. Police sirens rapidly approached. Whom? Stain picked up the broken hilt of his sword. Before disappearing into the darkness, he looked toward Izuku one final time. We'll meet again. Izuku watched him leave. He made no attempt to pursue. More emergency alerts appeared across his visor. More civilians needed help. More nomu had appeared throughout Hosu. He activated his thrusters. Boom! He disappeared into the night. Behind him, the broken rooftop remained silent. The duel between the Slayer's son and the hero killer had ended. But the chaos-consuming Hosu was far from over. Hosu City remained in chaos. Fires burned across multiple districts. Emergency vehicles filled the streets. Heroes continued evacuating civilians while searching for the remaining nomu. Inside the narrow alley, Stain quietly picked up the broken hilt of his sword. The shattered blade lay scattered across the rooftop. He looked toward Izuku. Finish it, if I'm one of your monsters. Izuku stood silently. His visor concealed his expression. After several seconds, he slowly stepped forward. Thud, thud, thud. Every step echoed through the ruined alley. Stain never moved. He simply watched. Izuku stopped directly in front of him. Instead of drawing another weapon, he raised one armored fist. Boom! A single punch struck Stain squarely in the abdomen. The impact lifted him completely off the ground. Cough! The hero killer crashed through a brick wall. Chunks of concrete rained across the alley. Before Stain could recover, Izuku was already beside him. He grabbed Stain's jacket with one hand, then slammed him into the pavement. Boom! The street cracked beneath the impact. Dust rolled across the alley. Stain struggled to breathe, his vision blurred. He attempted one final punch. Izuku caught it effortlessly. Thud. The hero killer's strength had completely faded. Izuku slowly tightened his grip. Stain couldn't move. He couldn't escape. Every attempt failed. It's over. Stain laughed weakly. Blood dripped from the corner of his mouth. Good. At least I lost. To someone worthy. Izuku released his arm. Instead, he activated reinforced restraint cables stored inside his gauntlet. Click. Steel cables wrapped around Stain's arms. Then his legs. They tightened instantly. Clank. No matter how hard Stain struggled, the restraints never loosened. Moments later, police sirens echoed nearby. Whom? Manuel and several pro-heroes rushed into the alley. They immediately froze. Stain, the infamous hero killer, was already defeated, completely restrained. Manuel slowly approached. Midoriya, did you capture him alone? Izuku nodded once. Yes. The officers carefully secured Stain. Even while unconscious, they attached multiple additional restraints. None of them wanted to take risks. As Stain was loaded into a transport vehicle, he briefly regained consciousness. His eyes found Izuku one final time. Never become like the false heroes. His head dropped. He lost consciousness completely. The transport doors closed. Clang. The vehicle departed. The streets gradually became quieter. News helicopters circled overhead. Their cameras captured the aftermath. By morning, every television station across Japan broadcast the same headline. Hero killer Stain captured during the Hosu incident. The footage repeatedly showed the destroyed alley, collapsed buildings, cracked pavement, and the mysterious green armored student standing silently among the rubble. Inside Hero Public Safety Headquarters, officials reviewed the battle recordings. One director paused the footage. The screen displayed Izuku standing over Stain. His methods are extremely effective. Another official frowned. Too effective. His combat style resembles military execution, not modern hero work. A third official folded his arms. Yet he protected civilians, captured Stain alive, and prevented additional casualties. The room fell silent. None of them could deny the results. Later that evening, inside U.A., Aizawa received the official battle report. He quietly finished reading before placing it onto his desk. All Might entered the room. How bad is it? Aizawa looked toward the window. The commission is divided. Some admire Midoriya, others fear what he'll become. All Might smiled slightly. Young Midoriya knows where the line is. He had every opportunity to kill Stain. He didn't. Aizawa nodded once. That's exactly why I'm not worried. Far away, inside a hidden underground facility, All for One calmly watched the latest news. Multiple monitors replayed Izuku's battles. The sludge villain, Nomu, Todoroki, Stain. Every victory appeared one after another. All for One slowly leaned back. His experience grows rapidly. Soon, he'll interfere with everything. Nearby, Shigaraki stared silently at one particular image. Izuku standing alone after defeating Stain. His fists slowly clenched. Next time, I'll bring enough firepower. Deep beneath Musudafu, inside the hidden workshop, Doomslayer silently watched the same broadcast. He looked toward his son on the monitor. After several quiet moments, he reached toward a massive sealed weapons vault. Heavy mechanical locks disengaged, clanked. Inside rested an ancient weapon unlike anything Izuku had ever used. Its golden frame radiated immense argent energy. Doomslayer stared at it silently. The next battle was approaching. and his son would soon require far greater power. Summer arrived. Class 1A traveled deep into the mountains for their forest training camp. Towering trees surrounded the training grounds. Cool winds passed through the forest. For most students, this was simply another training exercise. For Izuku, it felt different. His instincts refused to relax. Inside one of the cabins, he quietly inspected a newly delivered weapons case. Its surface carried a familiar mark. The Slayer's crest. Izuku unlocked the container. Click. Inside rested a sleek golden weapon unlike any he had carried before. Its frame shimmered with argent energy. Multiple crystal conduits glowed beneath the armor plating. A small data module activated automatically. Doom Slayer's recorded voice never played. Instead, only combat instructions appeared across the screen. Weapon designation. Unmaker. Combat authorization. Approved. Izuku carefully lifted the weapon. Despite its incredible power, its balance felt perfect. His visor immediately synchronized with the targeting system. Beep. Weapon linked successfully. Outside, training continued normally. Students practiced survival skills, combat drills, team coordination. Mandalay watched from a nearby cliff. Everything appeared peaceful, until Izuku's visor emitted a sharp warning. Beep. Multiple hostiles detected. Distance: 2.4 kilometers. Rapid approach. He immediately looked toward the forest. Dozens of heat signatures advanced between the trees. Some moved across the ground. Others leapt through the branches. Izuku activated his communicator. Aizawa. Hostiles incoming. Before another word could be spoken, a deafening explosion echoed across the mountains. Boom. Fire erupted from the western ridge. Birds scattered into the sky. Students froze. Another explosion followed. Boom. Panic spread through the camp. Pixie Bob immediately shouted, "Villain attack! Everyone stay together!" Black mist emerged between the trees. Masked figures stepped from the darkness. The Vanguard Action Squad had arrived. Spinner, Magna, Twice, Mr. Compress, and others spread across the battlefield. Behind them, two familiar figures walked calmly forward. Muscular. Dobby. Muscular grinned wildly. Finally. Time to hunt. Dobby slowly raised one hand. Blue flames ignited across his fingers. Whoosh. Burn everything. Massive blue fire surged toward the cabins. Students screamed. Before the flames reached them, a green blur crossed the clearing. Boom. Izuku landed directly between the fire and the students. His praetor suit sealed instantly. Click. He raised the Unmaker. Argent conduits illuminated the forest. The golden weapon hummed softly. Dobby narrowed his eyes. Another toy. Izuku calmly pulled the trigger. Dozens of golden energy bolts erupted simultaneously. They crossed the battlefield almost instantly. Each bolt struck with pinpoint accuracy. Boom, boom, boom. The incoming wall of blue fire disappeared beneath the barrage. The explosions consumed the flames before they reached the cabins. Dobby's eyes widened. He erased my fire. The energy barrage continued. Trees around the villains exploded. Rocks shattered. The ground erupted beneath their feet. Muscular crossed both arms. He charged directly through the explosions. Roar. His muscles expanded into monstrous proportions. He smashed through burning debris. Straight toward Izuku. Izuku lowered the Unmaker. His left fist clenched. Muscular laughed. "That's it. Fight me." Both fighters moved simultaneously. Boom. Their fists collided. The impact blasted away nearby trees. Dust engulfed the battlefield. Students shielded their faces. When the smoke cleared, Muscular stood frozen. His grin had vanished. His entire right arm trembled violently. Blood dripped from countless tears beneath his muscle fibers. Izuku hadn't moved an inch. Muscular slowly looked down. His reinforced muscles had cracked from a single punch. His expression changed completely. For the first time, fear replaced excitement. Far behind the battlefield, Dabi quietly watched the scene. His blue flames slowly faded. This is going to be troublesome. Weeks after the forest camp attack, the Hero Society suffered another heavy blow. Katsuki Bakugo had been kidnapped. The League of Villains disappeared into the shadows. Inside U.A. Class 1A remained restless. None of them wanted to wait. Late that night, Izuku stood inside his workshop. His helmet rested on the workbench. Multiple holographic maps floated before him. Security camera footage, police reports, stolen communication signals. His visor processed everything simultaneously. Beep. Possible enemy location identified. Probability 96.8%. Kamino Ward. Izuku quietly placed his helmet back on. Click. Combat mode activated. Outside, Hiroshima, Todoroki, Iida, Momo, and Todoroki's brother's information network had already narrowed the search area. The group reunited several streets away from the suspected hideout. Hiroshima looked toward Izuku. "We'll sneak inside." Izuku shook his head. "Number 2 slow." Momo frowned. "Then what's your plan?" Izuku looked toward the abandoned warehouse several hundred meters away. Thermal scans confirmed multiple villains inside. Among them, Bakugo. Alive. Direct entry. Before anyone could respond, Izuku reached behind his shoulder. A compact rocket launcher unfolded automatically. Click. Its guidance system locked onto the warehouse wall. Target acquired. Hiroshima blinked. "Wait, you're not serious." Izuku calmly squeezed the trigger. Whoosh. The rocket streaked across the night sky. Less than 2 seconds later. Boom. The side of the warehouse erupted. Steel beams twisted. Concrete walls collapsed inward. A massive opening appeared instantly. Dust rolled across the street. Alarms blared throughout the facility. Whom? Inside, villains jumped to their feet. What happened? We're under attack. Mr. Compress immediately turned toward the breach. Before he moved, a green blur entered through the smoke. Boom. Izuku landed inside the warehouse. The praetor suit absorbed the impact effortlessly. His visor immediately highlighted every hostile. Hostiles detected. Priority target. Bakugo. Spinner charged first. His oversized blade swung downward. Slash. Izuku sidestepped. His armored elbow struck Spinner beneath the chin. Boom. Spinner spun through the air before crashing into stacked cargo containers. Crash. Twice rushed from the opposite side. Multiple clones surrounded Izuku. Get him. All of you. Dozens of copies attacked simultaneously. Izuku reached for a compact grenade. Click. He rolled it into the center of the formation. Boom. A powerful shockwave swept through the warehouse. Every clone dissolved instantly. The real twice tumbled backward. His mask cracked down the middle. Again. He broke them all. Magna lunged forward. A magnetic wave surged across the room. Metal crates launched toward Izuku. He planted one foot firmly. Then caught the largest container with both hands. Thud. Without slowing, he hurled it back. Boom. The massive crate smashed into Magna. Both disappeared beneath collapsing debris. Mr. Compress activated his quirk. Small marbles flew toward Izuku. Before they reached him, his wrist blade extended. Shing. 3 quick slashes. Slash. 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 Every marble split apart harmlessly. Mr. Compress stepped backward. What kind of reaction speed? Izuku ignored him. His visor focused entirely on Bakugo. The blonde student remained restrained inside a steel chair. Their eyes met. Bakugo smirked. About time. Izuku walked toward him. Another explosion interrupted the movement. Boom. The entire warehouse shook violently. Black mist filled the upper floor. Kurogiri appeared. Leave immediately. Master has arrived. The temperature inside the room suddenly dropped. Every remaining villain stopped moving. They all turned toward the darkness beyond the ruined hallway. Slow footsteps echoed through the collapsing building. Thud, thud, thud. An enormous pressure filled the warehouse. Even the air itself felt heavier. Izuku slowly released the rocket launcher. His right hand rested on the grip of the crucible blade. His visor identified the approaching figure. Identity confirmed. All for one. The true battle for Kamino had just begun. The warehouse fell silent. Dust drifted through the broken ceiling. Every remaining villain stepped aside. Thud, thud, thud. A tall figure emerged from the darkness. His black suit remained untouched despite the destruction. The life support mask covered his ruined face. All for one. His presence alone made the atmosphere heavier. Bakugo narrowed his eyes. Spinner slowly stood again. Even Kurogiri remained completely silent. All for one looked directly at Izuku. So, the Slayer's son. Izuku didn't answer. His right hand remained on the hilt of the crucible blade. His left arm stayed near the rocket launcher. Both calmly observed each other. All for one smiled beneath the mask. Your father has become quite famous. Even in the underworld, I've wanted to examine his technology. Izuku finally spoke. You won't. All for one slowly raised one hand. Dozens of quirks activated simultaneously. Air pressure, kinetic force, shockwaves, energy manipulation. They merged into one enormous sphere. The warehouse trembled. Walls cracked. Villains hurried away from the center. Show me. What makes you different? Boom. The compressed blast shot forward. Everything in its path shattered instantly. Izuku reacted immediately. Boom. He sidestepped at tremendous speed. The attack continued past him. It smashed through multiple buildings behind the warehouse. A massive explosion echoed across Kami number. Smoke climbed into the night sky. Boom. All for one vanished. He appeared directly behind Izuku. His fist carried overwhelming force. Boom. Izuku crossed both armored arms. The impact launched him backward. He crashed through several steel pillars before landing on one knee. Sparks scattered across the praetor suit. Crack. Minor structural damage detected. Izuku calmly stood again. His armor remained functional. All for one tilted his head. Impressive. Few people survive that. Izuku reached behind his shoulder. The Unmaker unfolded once more. Golden argent conduits illuminated the ruined warehouse. All for one's eyes focused on the weapon. Interesting. Izuku fired. Hundreds of golden energy bolts erupted together. They filled the warehouse from every direction. All for one immediately stacked several defensive quirks. Transparent barriers appeared before him. Crack. The first barrier shattered. Then another. Then another. Boom. 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 The barrage overwhelmed every defense. All for one crossed both arms. The remaining blast struck his body directly. Violent explosions engulfed the entire room. Dust swallowed everything. Silence followed. Then, a figure stepped from the smoke. His suit had been torn. Burn marks covered one arm. Yet, he remained standing. Excellent. That weapon truly possesses extraordinary power. He slowly extended one hand. Black energy gathered around his palm. Multiple absorption quirks activated together. A powerful gravitational pull spread throughout the battlefield. The Unmaker vibrated violently inside Izuku's hands. Warning signals flashed across the visor. Beep. Foreign energy attempting system takeover. The weapon slowly began sliding toward All for One. Bakugo shouted from across the room. Don't let him touch it. All for One smiled. Technology can always be stolen. Izuku remained perfectly calm. Instead of resisting, he released the Unmaker. The weapon flew directly toward All for One. The villains watched in confusion. All for One caught it confidently. Finally, it's mine. For exactly 1 second, nothing happened. Then, the Argent core reacted. The weapon rejected him. Violent emerald energy erupted throughout its frame. Warning alarms screamed. Beep. Unauthorized user detected. Argent synchronization failed. All for One's expression changed. What? The unstable argent energy detonated inside the weapon. Boom. A massive emerald explosion filled the warehouse. All for One was launched across the room. His stolen quirks fluctuated wildly. Electric arcs burst across his body. The support systems connected to his mask sparked violently. Crackle, crackle. He crashed through the far wall before stopping outside the warehouse. Smoke rose from his damaged armor. He slowly stood. His breathing had become noticeably heavier. For the first time in years, he had been seriously injured. Inside the warehouse, the Unmaker automatically returned to Izuku. Its magnetic recall system activated. The weapon locked securely onto his back once again. All for One stared at the armor. Then at Izuku. His smile had completely disappeared. So, argent energy refuses anyone except its chosen wielder. Izuku slowly drew the crucible blade. Its crimson edge ignited. Shing. The glowing blade reflected in All for One's damaged mask. Both warriors stood facing each other beneath the burning night sky. Neither moved. They both understood. The next exchange would decide the outcome of Kami number. The night sky above Kamino glowed red. Fires consumed the shattered streets. Collapsed buildings surrounded the battlefield. Izuku stood with the crucible blade ignited. Its crimson light reflected across the broken pavement. All for One slowly raised both hands. Dark energy gathered around him once more. You've exceeded my expectations. That makes you even more valuable. Multiple quirks activated together. Air cannons, impact boosters, strength enhancers, kinetic amplifiers. They merged into a single devastating attack. The pressure alone split the nearby streets. Crack. Izuku lowered his stance. His visor calculated the incoming force. Warning. Extreme threat detected. All for One thrust both arms forward. Boom. The compressed blast tore through everything ahead. Cars flew into the air. Entire buildings collapsed. The attack swallowed the battlefield. Izuku sprinted directly into it. Boom. His armor pushed through the violent shockwave. Concrete shattered beneath every step. The pressure battered his body from every direction. Still, he continued advancing. The distance closed rapidly. All for One's eyes narrowed. He's forcing his way through. Izuku reached striking range. The crucible blade descended. Slash. All for One barely avoided the fatal strike. The crimson blade sliced through several stolen defensive quirks instead. Sparks erupted around his arm. He countered with a heavy punch. Boom. Izuku blocked with his gauntlet. Both fighters were thrown backward. The surrounding buildings trembled. Before either could attack again, the sky suddenly changed. A massive crimson portal slowly opened above Kami number. Everyone looked upward. Heroes, villains, civilians. The enormous gateway expanded across the clouds. Argent energy flooded the battlefield. The atmosphere became unbearably heavy. Then, a lone figure stepped through. Green armor covered with countless scars. The ancient praetor suit. The super shotgun resting across one shoulder. The crucible blade burning within one hand. Doom Slayer had arrived. Complete silence followed. Even All for One stopped moving. Doom Slayer landed between Izuku and the villains. Boom. The pavement collapsed beneath his boots. Without speaking, he turned toward Izuku. Father and son looked at each other. Doom Slayer gave one firm nod. Izuku answered with the same silent gesture. Nothing else needed to be said. Their weapons ignited simultaneously. Shing. All for One slowly stepped backward. For the first time, unease appeared across his face. There are two of them. Doom Slayer suddenly disappeared. Boom. His speed shocked everyone present. He appeared directly beside All for One. The super shotgun fired immediately. Boom. The blast launched all for one across the ruined avenue. Before he landed, Izuku accelerated. Boom. His armored fist struck all for one's side. Crack. Several ribs shattered instantly. The villain bounced across the street. Doom Slayer followed without pause. His crucible blade carved through multiple stolen quirks. Slash. Energy barriers collapsed. Impact shields vanished. Regeneration slowed dramatically. All for one desperately retaliated. Countless shockwaves erupted. Boom. 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 Father and son separated effortlessly. Every attack struck empty air. Their teamwork required no communication. Doom Slayer attacked from the front. Izuku from behind. Each opening created another. Each strike forced all for one farther back. The villain's breathing became increasingly unstable. His life support mask sparked continuously. Crackle. Crackle. He released another enormous energy blast. Doom Slayer stepped forward. Instead of avoiding it, he swung the crucible blade. Slash. The attack split cleanly in half. Both halves exploded harmlessly behind him. All for one's eyes widened. Impossible. Izuku seized the opportunity. His rocket launcher unfolded. Target lock completed instantly. Beep. He fired. Whoosh. The rocket struck all for one's chest. Boom. The explosion sent him crashing into the remains of a high-rise building. The structure collapsed around him. Dust covered the entire district. Heroes stared speechlessly. Villains slowly backed away. None of them wanted to remain. Inside the collapsing rubble, All for One slowly forced himself upright. His armor had been destroyed. His mask barely functioned. Blood ran across his damaged body. He looked toward the two armored warriors standing side by side. For the first time in decades, the king of villains understood something. He could not win. Far away, All Might had finally arrived. He stood atop a nearby rooftop. His eyes widened as he witnessed the battlefield below. Doom Slayer, Izuku, standing together against All for One. The final battle for the future of hero society had truly begun. The ruins of Kamino burned beneath the night sky. Smoke drifted between shattered buildings. Fires illuminated the battlefield. All for One slowly emerged from the rubble. His breathing had become uneven. His life support mask sparked continuously. Crackle, crackle. Pieces of broken armor fell onto the street. Blood dripped from countless wounds. Yet, he refused to kneel. Across from him, Doom Slayer and Izuku stood side by side. Father and son, both wearing scarred green armor. Both holding crimson crucible blades. Their silent presence alone overwhelmed the battlefield. Heroes gathered in the distance. Villains remained frozen. Nobody dared interrupt. All for One slowly laughed. Interesting. Perhaps, I underestimated humanity. His body suddenly erupted with dark energy. Every remaining stolen quirk activated simultaneously. Shockwaves spread across Kami number. Boom. The ground split apart. Collapsed buildings crumbled even further. The air itself trembled. All for One unleashed everything. Air pressure. Energy cannons. Strength boosters. Impact multipliers. Hundreds of quirks merged into one final attack. A massive sphere of black energy formed above his hands. Disappear. He released it. Boom. The gigantic blast swallowed the street. Everything before it vanished beneath overwhelming power. Doom Slayer looked toward Izuku. He gave one silent nod. Izuku understood immediately. Both warriors accelerated. Boom. Boom. They split apart. Doom Slayer charged from the left. Izuku from the right. The enormous blast passed harmlessly between them. All for One tried tracking both targets. He couldn't. They moved too quickly. Doom Slayer arrived first. His super shotgun roared. Boom. The blast shattered multiple defensive quirks. Before All for One recovered, Izuku appeared behind him. His armored fist struck directly into the villain's back. Boom. All for One stumbled forward. Doom Slayer's crucible blade immediately followed. Slash. The crimson edge sliced across the villain's chest. Deep energy burns spread through his body. His regeneration slowed almost instantly. He screamed. Roar. Desperation filled his eyes. He launched countless shockwaves in every direction. Boom. 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 Father and son moved through every explosion. Their coordination remained flawless. Each attack forced All for One farther back. Each mistake became another wound. The villain's body reached its limit. His stolen quirks began collapsing one after another. Crack, crack, crack. Warning sounds echoed from his damaged mask. Beep. System failure. Life support malfunction. All for One dropped to one knee. His arms trembled. He attempted to stand. His legs refused. Doom Slayer slowly lowered his weapon. He looked toward Izuku. The final strike belonged to his son. Izuku stepped forward. His crucible blade burned brighter than ever. He stopped directly before All for One. The defeated villain slowly raised his head. Finish it, Izuku answered with complete calm. Your war ends here. The crimson blade descended. Slash. A brilliant arc crossed the battlefield. All for One's remaining quirks shattered simultaneously. Dark energy dispersed into the night. His damaged mask split apart. The villain collapsed onto the broken street. This time, he never moved again. Silence spread across Kami number. The war was over. After several long seconds, the surrounding heroes slowly approached. All Might stopped before Izuku. Then turned toward Doom Slayer. For a brief moment, the two legendary warriors looked at one another. Without speaking, All Might smiled. Doom Slayer answered with a small nod. Then, a crimson portal opened behind him. Doom Slayer looked at his son one final time. Izuku returned the silent nod. The legendary warrior stepped into the portal. It closed immediately afterward. He was gone. Days later, Hero Society announced the fall of All for One. Crime across Japan dropped dramatically. The League of Villains collapsed. Newspapers around the world displayed the same image. An armored young hero standing amid the ruins of Kami number. The student who had fought beside the legendary Slayer. Inside U.A. Students gathered around the television. Hiroshima laughed proudly. That's our classmate. Ochako smiled warmly. He protected everyone. Bakugo crossed his arms. A confident grin appeared. He finally proved it. All Might quietly looked toward the clear morning sky. The future is safe. Far beneath Musudafu, inside the hidden workshop, another praetor suit rested within its chamber. Its systems quietly activated. Beep. New user recognized. Slayer bloodline confirmed. The armor waited patiently, ready for the day humanity would once again need its hellwalker. And from that day onward, the world remembered Izuku Midoriya by a new title. The Hellwalker Hero. The son of Doom Slayer. The warrior who never feared monsters. The hero who stood at the front line until the very end.